Rashad, why you didn't
Anyways,
hit me up?
What's up, Rashad? Hey, Rashad.
What's up, Rashad?
Thank you, Rashad.
brother, I love you, brother.
What's up, Rashad? What it do, boy?
Hey, Rashad.
Hey, what up? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Rashad Milligan. If you're on this channel, this is the road 10K subs. As you guys seen from the title, we have a very, very special guest in the building tonight, man. I'm gonna do it like this. Hold on. Let me do a proper intro. Man. Real quick. I'm gonna do a proper intro. So give me a second here. I was trying to pull it up during the intro, but the intro is only 10 seconds. We're gonna go like this, man. You guys see the title, you guys already know who's in the building. We're gonna do it like this. Cool. He's my predecessor at the Signal, which is the student paper at Georgia State. Everybody welcome in Mr. Akiem Bailum. Akiem, how you? 2021, man. 2021. So we are back at this thing. This is the 6th annual, and yes, you can say annual. There's no such thing as first annual, but there is such a thing as 6th annual. So with that being said, to talk over these brackets, to talk over this basketball, man, we got an annual tradition here on this channel, man. My boy, my A-League brother, man, Akiem. Wait, hold on. Akiem Bailum.
You there?
Yeah. You can't hear me?
Can't hear you.
Oh man. King can't even hear me. Hold on. I can hear you. I can hear you. Maybe try leaving and then coming back. All right. So Akiem, while he did that intro, he apparently lost all just hearing abilities even with me. You know how it goes with technology. If it's not one thing, it's another. Akiem, can you hear me now? Try leaving and then coming back. Leave and then come back. Okay. So, all right. So Akiem is going to try to get that right. But in the meantime, man, let me pull up my bracket. Hold on. Let me. Akiem. Hold on. Leave and then come back. Okay. All right. In the meantime, man, let's pull up my bracket just so you guys have a refresher. And I'm gonna have my bracket up the entire stream so you guys see what is going on and stuff. I believe first four has already started for the men. So yeah, can you hear me now, Akiem?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Absolutely.
Okay, cool, man. So welcome back in, man. Sixth year doing this. I guess just off top, like any words that you have.
Yeah, I mean, it's become, like you said, an annual tradition for us. Like you said, recording on your channel. And, I love doing this. I mean, this is definitely, one of my highlights of every single year. And, and as you can see, recording this on St. Patty's night, I got my green on. I even have some green LEDs, set up in my living room. So I'm all, decked out in the St. Patty's Day spirit as well. But yeah, one of the best times of the year. Can't beat March Madness, man. Best time of the year.
No, for sure. And I don't know, like I saw an old clip of Jeremy. He was on shout out Nate Butler. He was on Nate Butler's page one time talking about the Falcons. And I was just like, dang, man, I miss A-League, man. Seeing Jeremy up there talk. I know we tried to do a couple episodes recently, actually, and people were just like, oh no, I'm at the thing. I'm out in Alaska, so but we'll eventually get A-League back together, the band back together, and record at least a couple of episodes just for old time's sake. Tomorrow is the first four. So the first four has started tonight for the men's tournament, but for the women's, it doesn't start until tomorrow. So we have that. I'm excited and just ready to go, man. So without further ado, let's get into it. Shall we, Akiem?
Shall we? Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. So as you see from my bracket, I have UConn winning the whole thing. If you go back to last year's 2025, I had UConn winning. So I ranked in the top 100,000 which is pretty good compared to other years. 2024, I think this was the year I didn't rank well. I ranked in the top a million, but I got South Carolina right. And in 2023, I got the winner wrong. I picked South Carolina and they lost, and I was in the millionth percentile rank for that. So the last couple years, man, I've been on a heater the last couple years, and last year was my best year. This year, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't think I watched enough basketball, just to be transparent, to have a great bracket. But that's the greatness of March Madness, isn't it?
It really is in many ways, and I think that's kind of the thing. I mean, there are folks out here that probably, because there's so many teams, obviously, in the college game, there's no way that anybody could possibly watch every single game, every single team. But it's one of those situations where, we know exactly which teams are at the top. We when we look at the bracket, like there's possible upsets up and down. So, that's kind of the beauty of it.
No, 100%, 100%. Now I have UConn winning the whole thing, and Keem, I'll let you kind of savor, whoever you picked. We'll go one by one here, so let's build up the anticipation. I guess we'll start off here. Regional one, UConn versus UTSA. Who do you have?
I got UConn in that one. I definitely have UConn in that one. Obviously on their home court, they're hosting. So yeah, I think I got UConn beating UTSA.
All right, cool, cool, cool. So game number 2 in the region, Iowa State and Syracuse.
Now, if I remember correctly, I believe this is also a game. I believe this is a game that's being hosted at UConn. So it's a situation where one would think that when you look at it from a travel perspective, that it's probably something that would favor Syracuse, where they would probably have more of a home court. But one thing that Syracuse does not have is Audie Crooks. And there was a point in the season, man, where we were talking about Audie Crooks as if she was possibly the best player in all of women's college basketball. So I'm a huge fan of hers. I think Iowa State, I think they take it first round over Cuse.
Yeah, man, it was a defensive highlight that went viral on Audie Crooks that like really kind of calmed down all the talk about her being the national player of the year, et cetera, et cetera. But still, you got to go team that scores the most points, and shout out to Jada as well. Jada Williams over there too. So, okay, moving down. Maryland and Murray State.
Maryland and Murray State. This is one of those games where, because of the fact that it's a 5-12, like it's obviously going to be an upset pick, I believe, for, in a lot of brackets, picking Murray State over Maryland. I have Maryland beating Murray State. Aluchi Okanawa is one of the best players in all of women's college basketball for sure. And Maryland has that. They've been here. They've been here before, absolutely. So I'm definitely going with Maryland to get the 5 over the 12 over Murray State.
Okay, insane in the same region. 4-13, North Carolina and Western Illinois.
And if I remember correctly, this is another occasion where if I remember correctly, I believe that North Carolina is hosting these games. And of course, North Carolina has a huge, basketball pedigree, both going on the men's side as well as on the women's side as well. And once again, this is going to be one of those, types of games where, you look at it and it's a, potential 13 over 4. I don't see North Carolina losing in this one, so I'm gonna go Tar Heels over Western Illinois.
Okay. All right, moving down now. Number 6, Notre Dame versus number 11, Fairfield.
It's interesting because Notre Dame, one thing that we forget, Notre Dame, if I remember correctly, only lost to Duke in the ACC tournament by 2 points. And for some reason whatsoever, Notre Dame was seated 6th. I can only imagine, and this is probably something similar as well that we're going to talk about a little bit later with Duke. I can only imagine Notre Dame probably is going into this tournament maybe with a bit of a chip on their shoulder. And last time I checked, Notre Dame still has Hannah Hidalgo, so I'm going Notre Dame over Fairfield. Notre Dame going to the second round.
Okay, okay. All right. So you're going to Hannah Hidalgo. Moving on. Now we go to Ohio State, Jelani Cambridge, and going against Howard, who men and women are both in the tournament this year.
And not only that, but also shout out to the Howard men because they just defeated UMBC in the in the first four on the men's side. For some reason, they played that game in Buffalo when we're talking about two teams from the DMV, and they're playing in upstate New York. Go figure. But yeah, you're absolutely right in terms of Ohio State. Like Jelani Cambridge, and not only that, but they also have Chance Gray, who, if I remember correctly, she dropped 23 points against UCLA. So, obviously the whole structure of the Big Ten is obviously changed now that they have all of those all those teams from out west from the former Pac-12. But yeah, I like Ohio State getting the first round win over Howard.
And shout out to Chris Henry's daughter. I want to say Chris Henry's daughter is also on that Ohio State team. Rest in peace, Chris Henry, for sure. Illinois
Absolutely.
versus Colorado.
Illinois versus Colorado. Believe it or not, this is actually going to be my first upset pick. I'm going Colorado, the 10 seed, over Illinois, the 7 seed. Colorado is just, loaded with talent. I mean, you think about like Ziana Walker, you think about and if I remember correctly, they had a close loss in that Big 12 tournament, if I remember correctly, to West Virginia. So, so they're ready for this time of year. So yeah, I'm going the 10 over 7. I'm going Colorado to beat Illinois.
Yeah, Keem, I pulled it up right here. You're exactly right. Literally just a 1 point loss to West Virginia right there in the tournament, in the conference tournament. So, all
Yep.
right, we got a first upset. I picked all the higher seeds here, so I'm glad that we have some shaking up. Okay, and now is there another upset? This one would be a huge one because Vandy's been near the top of the SEC all season long. It's been pretty much a big four between South Carolina and LSU, the usual suspects. Texas, kind of a usual suspect in this latest era of Vic Schaefer and Maddie Booker. But also, Vandy has snuck into the conversation this year. Michaela Blake's obviously had a great freshman year last year. And this year, she continued to take that next step and becoming an elite player. And she put herself in the National Player of the Year talks. So with that being said, Vandy's a 2 seed. Is there any chance that they lose to number 15, High Point?
Let me think about that for a second. And I love what High Point has done this year, but Vandy is just too good. And you're absolutely right. I mean, we talk about Michaela Blake's, who's put herself in the National Player of the Year conversation, but also another name that I definitely had to give a shout out to, Aubrey Galvan, the baller. And I remember covering her on the AAU circuit some years ago when she was coming out of the Midwest. And it is amazing to me how she has completely put herself on the national stage. So just what Vandy has been able to do pretty much coming out of nowhere. And like you said, showing that they belong on the same court with the LSUs and the Texas and the South Carolinas of the world. It's been one of the really great stories, if you will, of the women's college basketball scene. So I'm going with Vanderbilt. I'm going with Vanderbilt to go into the second round of this tournament.
Yeah, and shouts out to Aubrey. Definitely want to give her a look and everything like that. That was a great pull, averaging nearly 6 assists per game this season for the Commodores. Moving down to Regional 4, South Carolina. South Carolina versus the winner of Southern and Sanford.
We know that, we definitely know that South Carolina is going to do what South Carolina does. I mean, like, it's one of those situations where with South Carolina, and we talked about this before, South Carolina is definitely going to win this game for sure. But the thing with South Carolina, the thing with these Dawn Staley teams is you just don't know who's going to be, you just don't know who's going to go off. You don't know who's going to be that, that one player that you're going to have to stop. Like it could be Raven Johnson, it could be Joyce Edwards. I mean, it could be Tanaya Latson. So it could be Tessa Johnson who could guard Tessa. So so that's the thing with South Carolina. But yeah, I'm definitely going Gamecocks first round.
But what a season, right? What a season. Who's gonna guard Tessa?
Yeah.
Who's gonna guard Tessa? And the LSU the freshmen are just like so reckless and they don't care about anything. I love them, man. Those
Daycare.
freshmen are
Dawn's daycare.
that's exactly what they needed with Flage leaving and Angel Reese already being gone for the past couple of years. They needed some type of edge to that team and stuff like that, other than full volley just kind of doing whatever with the basketball and you just being like, hey! But,
Right.
oh, by the way, what I was looking up as I accidentally scrolled over MLB like at the top of the screen here, I was like, oh, let me check the score. Venezuela has a 2-0 lead right now. They have a 2-0 lead over the United States.
Oh yeah, in the World Baseball Classic.
In the World Baseball Classic, it is a 2-0 lead. Let me see if I could go to the Fox page to see the actual score here as we are going. Judge out to end it. Oh, yep. It's 2-0.
Yep.
So
Still 2-0.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Going back to basketball. Clemson versus USC. The other USC. So yeah. Is it yeah. What are we going with? What are we going with, King?
The other USC, the West Coast USC. And what's interesting? Because of the fact that, folks around here in South Carolina, I can only imagine they probably looked at that portion of the bracket with a lot of intrigue because they're probably thinking, okay, we know that regardless of who South Carolina plays in that first round, we know for sure that, it's going to be a blowout because, it's South Carolina. But you look at that matchup, you're thinking, okay, is South Carolina going to play the other USC in the first round? Or is South Carolina going to play their arch in-state rival Clemson in the first round? And right now, I have it as the 9 beating the 8. I'm taking USC to beat Clemson.
There it is. And you see Mia Moore right here. Shout out to the Georgia girl. Leading the way for Clemson. But yeah, as you see here, I went with Jazzy Davidson, man. I trust her right here, and I trust Chavez as well. And early on in the early stages, they're kind of getting their name out there, and this is the perfect cap to that for both of those sensational freshman years they had. And we'll see the type of rest of the careers they have, especially with Jazzy. We have to see how she looks with Juju coming back in the fold next year. It's kind of a great thing to imagine. Oh yeah, they're gonna be. Dang, Jazzy was this, and then they're gonna add Juju. But remember, kind of saw this with Hannah Hidalgo and Olivia Miles, where it was kind of like they had to learn how to play with each other for 2 years, and then one of them left. So we'll see how that works out in the long run with them. But in the meantime, let's enjoy the Jazzy Davidson hoops. I got USC as well.
Absolutely, definitely.
Michigan State and go ahead, King.
Absolutely, you're right. I mean, you're definitely right, man. I mean, it's one of those situations, and we've seen this before. I mean, just because you have 2 star players together, I mean, it's not necessarily a guarantee that they'll be able to to mesh well together. I mean, but I feel like with Juju coming back, I feel like it's one of those situations that when we see out of Southern Cal next year, I feel like they'll definitely be back in that Final Four national championship conversation.
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially, when you look at kind of like the departure of the Kiki Rice, Flage, Lauren Betts era. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that opens things up a lot, So I definitely agree with you there. Okay. Oh, and the end of the Raven Johnson era. I think, people are kind of ignoring that. I mean, Don Staley has said, yeah, this is like my best point guard ever. She's kind of hyping her up going into the draft. And I think rightfully so. Like Raven always had a good, complete game. It was just the jump shot that was missing consistently. And she's developed that over the last couple of years and specifically this year. And I mean, she's a complete player. Like she's having the season that she needed to have if she was going to come back for that extra season, that extra 5th COVID year or redshirt year because she got hurt. and she lived up to that expectation of what she needed to do that extra year. So, like I said, I apologize for my previous skepticism of Raven as a WNBA prospect. I think she is a pro now after seeing what I saw this year, and she's a winner. But I say all of that to say she's very important to what South Carolina does, and it will be interesting to see how, are you kind of replacing her with this? I know Don doesn't necessarily always just play freshmen outright and start him and put him in the middle of it, but are you going to put like Jersey Robinson, who's more of a chucker and a scorer, in that role? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it'll just be interesting to see what becomes of the South Carolina backcourt specifically, because the front court, they're good. Joyce, yeah, and then Ashlyn Watkins is coming back. Cheese, like they're going to be good in the front court. But that backcourt is where you like, how is it?
Yeah, kind of gives you a little bit of a, question mark as far as like what they could do with that backcourt. I know one thing's for sure. There's whoever team drafts Raven Johnson, especially for her defense. Let's remember, this is the same Raven Johnson that we remember what she did a couple of years ago in the Natty when she shut down Caitlin Clark. So so they're a WNBA team is gonna love Raven, especially for her defense.
Yeah, shout out to Raven, Crop Pot Hollywood, friend of the channel for sure. After that sensational performance in the Natty. Okay, Michigan State and Colorado State.
It's interesting because Michigan State is kind of going into the tournament with a little bit of a cold spell. If I remember correctly, I believe they lost to Ohio State, they lost to Illinois. So even though they did get a pretty high seed, they got a 5 seed going into the tournament. It's a situation where Michigan State is kind of struggling, where meanwhile Colorado State is kind of on a hot streak. And when you think about it, they got Brooke Carlson, they got Madeline Bragg. So there's going to be a lot of brackets that are going to pick the 12 over the 5, including my bracket. I got Colorado State advancing to the second round.
Yeah, Key. Yeah, I picked them too.
Yes.
Okay, now from one freshman to another, like I mentioned earlier, Aaliyah Chavez, leading Oklahoma, number 4 seed now against Idaho. Does she avoid her first year upset?
I think she does. I mean, there is a reason as to why Aaliyah Chavez, there's a reason as to why, Oklahoma is in this position. They're in this position in large part because of Aaliyah Chavez. And I remember when Aaliyah Chavez was, when she committed to Oklahoma, that it was a situation where everybody was shocked, like, oh wow, Aaliyah Chavez chose Oklahoma of all schools. But that's the thing, and we've seen the results and everything that it's meant to Oklahoma ever since. So yeah, I got Oklahoma eliminating Idaho in the first round.
The city of Norman.
The city of Norman, indeed. Shout out Tyler DeLuca.
Shout out Tyler. Shout out to the committee, man. Shout out to Chani. They did an interview with Joyce.
No cap
Edwards.
space.
Yeah. No. Oh, my bad. Oh, no. Hey,
no cap space, WBB.
I showed my age. Oh, my God.
Good.
Forgive me. Oh, my goodness. Well, there goes my chance of a collaboration with No Cap Space.
You gonna get that collab.
but yeah, they did an interview, him and Chani, I believe it was, before the season with Joyce Edwards, and I thought that was super dope that they got Joyce down for a sit down on camera for like 20 minutes or so. So shouts out to them. They do great work. They hustle and they put out good content. I sometimes I'll be like their thumbnails and stuff, their graphics, it's so good. I'll be like, oh my gosh, it's so good. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But they have a good team around them, and yeah, they're good. Shouts out to No Cap Space.
They did a whole live stream, if I remember correctly, when they were talking about the whole thing with that, with that lawsuit that was filed against the owner of the main owner of the Chicago Sky. I remember listening to that. That was a really informative live stream that they did.
Yeah, they're on it.
They're on top of it.
It's a good team. it's just a good team. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
when Tyler has the experience he has going to journalism school and the traditional route, and then Chani has like the smarts but the wits to like master the internet, and then you have your other people on the team as well. It all just kind of meshes together, bro. I rock with them.
Right.
All right, moving down. Washington, number 6 Washington versus number 11 South Dakota State.
Mm. Another potential upset pick. And another potential upset pick that I'm going with. I'm going with South Dakota State to beat Washington. And the thing is, and I understand, they've been on a hot streak as South Dakota State has been as of late. And I understand what folks are going to think. Okay, playing in the Summit League is obviously different from playing in the Big Ten. Absolutely, for sure. But I'm a big believer in sprinkling in a few upsets in your bracket. And I feel like this is a situation where I feel like we could very well see another, potential upset as far as this is concerned. I mean, you look at somebody like a Brooklyn Mayer, who, if I remember correctly, she scored 26 points in the Summit League championship game against North Dakota State. So I'm really interested to see what she does, what South Dakota State is able to do on the same court with Washington. So I like the upset. I'm going with the 11 over the 6. Give me the Jackrabbits over Washington.
Bro, look at this game log from Brooklyn Mayer, bro.
Mm,
26, 24, 26, 33, 18, 19, 44, 11 off night, 21, 19, 27, 18, 25, 31, 24, 18, 19, 10 off night, 22, 20, 27, 20, 14, 28, 19, 18, 28. Sometimes in college, they had this conversation with Alex Caruso. Like, how many NBA players do you think can be on a 16 seed and the men's side and lead them to a national championship or lead them to the Final Four? And he said probably about like 30. Like
mm.
probably going all the way back to like he didn't say any names of like who he considers at 30, but like I would imagine 30 would be like Trey Young, like around that, kind of range and stuff like that. Like
Mm.
well, really 30 will probably be like Austin Reeves, to be honest. These
Something
days,
like that.
yeah, because I feel like Trey is probably like around 20-ish. Yeah.
Hmm.
Really,
Probably.
really around 15, but really around top 10 when he gets going. But we know how that
True.
goes. He's got to work himself back into shape and stuff.
Hmm.
But
Right.
yeah. I think probably about 30 players. So I say all of this to say South Dakota State has a dominant score, and sometimes one player can make all the difference in the NCAA tournament. I mean,
Yeah.
we saw it in our alma mater, RJ Hunter. Like, we
Hmm.
didn't have Ryan Harrell, and Ryan Harrell was out at the time, but they still had RJ, and RJ just kind of willed and led that comeback, and obviously hit the most famous shot in school history. Changed Ron Hunter's career and changed our lives and stuff as well. But yeah, sometimes that's all it takes, and I feel like South Dakota State has that to make
Yeah.
the thing. But in my original pick, I said Avery Howe be doing all that dirty playing, pulling people's arms and stuff like that. I think that's going to be enough to get it done.
Mm.
She's pulling people's arms, she
Hey, it could
bumping
very
into
well be
them,
enough. Who knows?
ripping them up on her. She pulling her old teammates on. I say, dang, you used to play with these girls. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes you think, like, what's she doing out there? It really
Yeah,
makes you think.
Avery Howe, she definitely one of them ones. And shouts out to the other USC transfer over there at UConn. What's her name?
Mhm.
Team the point guard.
Hmm. Who was that?
Because
Who was that?
Avery Howe left and she went to Washington, and then the
Hmm.
other USC girl transferred.
Yeah.
Man, I see her face. I'm trying
Hmm.
to do it without looking it up, y'all. So if y'all looking like y'all saying her name, and I'm trying to do it without
Yeah.
looking it up.
I
I'm gonna
feel
look
like
it up.
it's one of those names that's kind of like on the tip of our tongues. We just can't necessarily like think about it right now. But yeah, it's kind of one of those names that's sort of on the tip of our tongues.
Let me see. What's who I'm trying to think of. Shout out KK. Shout out Blanca.
Mm-hmm.
Kaylee Heckle.
Oh,
That's the
okay. Kaylee Heckle. Yep.
Yeah, so Heckle is over at UConn and Avery House up there in Washington, and I covered both of them. Well, I didn't cover them. I reacted to them when they were both coming out of high school, going to USC, and both fans of their games. And Avery is kind of like spread her wings at Washington. Heckle has fit in well with UConn and stuff like that. What they have going on, she's a good facility. Kind of filling out that Kaylin Chow role that that she left over there from Princeton. The year
Right.
prior.
Good comparison.
Yes. All right.
Real good comparison.
TCU, UC San Diego. So we had one of the Notre Dame dynamic duo, Hannah Hidalgo. Now we have the other one who is now at TCU, Olivia Miles Goggles.
Liv Miles Goggles. And it's interesting because I have to give a lot of credit to TCU and what they've been able to do. It's something about TCU where they're able to land, high profile transfers. We saw it with Haley Van Lith, and now we're seeing it once again with Olivia Miles. And they're one of those 3 seeds for a reason. So yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because if Olivia Miles didn't decide to stay in college, she would probably already be in the WNBA right now. She's definitely a WNBA talent. A lot of teams want her, so I'm definitely going TCU over UC San Diego.
19-6-6 is ridiculous. It's almost 19-7-6. That's ridiculous.
Those numbers will get you will get you picked in the lottery in the WNBA.
Oh, okay. Let's break away for real quick. We talked about Raven Johnson, right? And you say, you just brought up Olivia Miles. I want to ask you this question, man, about the draft, right? Let me see if I can see a picture of them together. I don't see an exact picture of them sitting next together or standing next together. But they're definitely been in the same places. So with that being said, I guess I'll just pull up somebody's graphic. Shout out to Hoops HQ. I'm getting this graphic from you. All right. Who do you see Flage still going in the top 5 this year? It was kind of like almost at one point a foregone conclusion that she was going to be a top 5 pick. Now it's a question mark after kind of a rocky LSU year.
It's kind of, I feel like it's a coin flip. I feel like it's a bit of a coin flip. And I feel like in many ways, it probably has a lot to do more with fit more so than anything else. Cause, when you look at some of the top guards that are in this draft. And Olivia Miles is definitely in that conversation. AZ Fudd is definitely in that conversation. So I feel like in a lot of ways, because of the fact that you look at what an Olivia Miles can do, you look at what an AZ Fudd can do, you look at the winning pedigree of somebody like a Raven Johnson, I feel like it's a situation where it probably puts it in a scenario where maybe Flage I mean, she's definitely going to get picked in the first round. And I'm glad you just on the scroll you mentioned Kiki Rice. It also mentions Tanaya Latson. It's definitely one of those situations that, because of the fact that it's been so much guard talent that happens to be in this upcoming draft, that it really kind of makes you wonder. Oh, that having Raven Johnson go to, I just saw that mock, having Raven Johnson go to Indiana when we know she locked down Caitlin Clark 2 years ago on the Natty. That would be something. But it is a fair question about Flage. I mean, where is she going to get drafted? Definitely in the first round. But I would not be surprised if she got drafted potentially outside of the lottery. So I feel like it probably has a lot to do with fit more than anything else.
Yeah, that's a crazy. Wait, hold on. Is Lauren Best have another year? She has a COVID year, something like that.
She's not on that mock.
Let me see. So, okay, hold on. Let me scroll. This is Megan's, by the way. This is Megan's list. Shout out Megan over at USA Today.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Tanaya Latson, Kiki Rice, Lauren Bet. Oh,
Lauren
she just has
Betts.
her all the way down at 4. This was someone who looked like they were going to be like a lock for 1. So had AZ Fudd at some point. Like I remember Flau'jae being in talks of being number 1, AZ being in talks of number 1, and Lauren Betts, and it ends up being the homegirl from Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting stuff.
Very interesting. And there are a lot of folks obviously that are trying to manifest AZ to Dallas.
Let me see some more on
Because of
how you
Paige.
pronounce it? Is it Awa fam?
That's a
Awafam?
good question.
It might be
That's a good
Awafam.
question.
I
I definitely need to look that up.
Let me see any stats. I'm obviously gonna she averaged 7 points. But see, this is the type of stuff Luka was averaging in Spain, and I was like, ain't no way you picking him number 1. And boy, was I wrong. So you can't even look at the overseas stats. You got to watch the film. But
yeah.
With that being said, all right, let's just go back. So all right, TCU, we have TCU going. Georgia versus Virginia or Arizona State.
And it's interesting because as far as Arizona State, shout out to Aya Abdeen. She's been doing a lot of work down there in Arizona, really covering Arizona State, an alum of Arizona State. So definitely gotta give her props. I shouted her out in my annual my annual column that I do every year for Beyond the W, where I shout out media members covering the W for sure. But yeah, I mean, Georgia is interesting because folks have always thought about UGA as as a football school, but it's very interesting that Georgia has both their women's and their men's teams playing in March Madness this year. So definitely definitely great for UGA, and I'm going with the dogs to advance over either UVA or ASU. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Shouts out to Aya for sure. Like I feel like we've watched her grow up, like in media and stuff like that, of like being a fan who with aspirations to enter sports media to becoming a more aggressive and kind of just like get to it type of reporters out there in such a short time. And I don't
Yeah.
know. Salute to her for sure.
And shout out to Arizona as well, because that's obviously that's where the women's Final Four is, and that's where the McDonald's All-American game is this year.
Oh, snap. Shout out to all the McDonald's All-Americans and stuff like that. They ain't announced the rosters yet, right? Have they already announced the rosters? They haven't.
I think they did. I would have to go back and check and see, but I think they did. I would be surprised if they didn't by now. Because I think it's literally the week or the weekend prior to the Final Four.
Dang. I think they did.
Yeah.
A month ago? Oh my goodness, I'm cooked. I'm sorry, guys. Jesus. I guess I'm just washed up now. I'm washed. But that's why I have Akiem in here. Keep me sharp. Oh, I'm washed. I used to be on top of all of this. All right.
It is what it is, man.
Iowa versus FDU.
Iowa, it's interesting because, and full disclosure, I thought that after Caitlin Clark had left, I thought Iowa was going to go back, and especially after Caitlin Clark and Lisa Bluter had left, I thought it was one of those situations where Iowa was still going to be a program that was going to be good, but I did not think that we'd be talking a few years later and we'd be talking about Iowa as a 2 seed going into the tournament. And it's interesting because I'm glad you pull up Hannah Stuelke, because Stuelke, if I remember correctly, she was on that 2024 team that went to the championship against South Carolina. So, and if I think she's a senior this year as well. So, and it's very interesting because I feel like I feel like in a sense they're kind of maybe sort of possibly experiencing maybe a result of that Caitlin Clark effect where they're starting to maybe get some more of those top tier recruits. So it's very interesting what's happening in Iowa. But yeah, I got Iowa over FDU.
I didn't even unmute. I said, all right, and so do I. uh,
Yeah.
Headed over to the other side of the bracket. UCLA versus California Baptist.
You know what's interesting? First of all, I definitely have UCLA winning. But it's very interesting that now we're going to this side of the bracket because I think the reason as to why UCLA, as well as Texas, are going to be very, very, very good picks to get to the Final Four is because UCLA can pretty much play the entire regional and not have to leave their state. Because if I remember correctly, the regional that they're going to be playing in Sacramento. So that's home court advantage. That's home cooking for UCLA. Same thing with Texas. We're going to get to Texas a little bit later on. But it's interesting because their regional, if I remember correctly, they're in Fort Worth. So they don't even have to leave Texas. So that's definitely huge in terms of UCLA and Texas when you look at the number one seeds. Whereas UConn and especially South Carolina, they don't have that luxury with this bracket. So yeah, definitely going with UCLA. UCLA over California Baptist.
Well, you know, South Carolina just gets that every year in the SEC tournament. So
Yeah.
every year in Greenville, it's like all the. It sounds like you in Columbia. I was like, oh my goodness.
And folks crashing out like, oh, what is the SEC tournament doing every single year in Greenville?
Right. But hey, Texas, that didn't matter to Texas. Texas, they shut that up.
No, it didn't. And it almost didn't matter to LSU. They gave South Carolina a game.
Yeah. So
Lay went off against their former team.
we go Princeton, Oklahoma State.
Princeton, Oklahoma State. Another 9 against another 8. And, one rule of thumb that I always have for my bracket is that I always want to pick at least about 2 8s and 2 9s. And Princeton is one of those 2 9s that I'm picking to beat Oklahoma State. I believe they have somebody by the name of Fadima Tal, who I think dropped 20-7 in the Ivy League championship. I believe they played Harvard. So yeah, I'm going with Princeton to get the upset. If you call 9 over 8 an upset, but yeah, Princeton with the upset over Oklahoma State.
Yeah. I was looking for the player you just shouted out. Hold on, I want to give her the shout out. Here it is, Fadima Tall.
Hmm.
Uh, as soon as this, there we go. She averaged 13-7 this season, and like
Yeah.
you said in the championship game, hold on, let me go to game log. She had 20-7. So big performance there, and this is obviously the Ivy League post Harmony Turner. So
Hmm.
so Princeton is going right back to winning. All right, moving on. Ole Miss and Gonzaga.
Ole Miss and Gonzaga, another 5 and another 12. I just want to ask Gonzaga one question, and just one question. Do you have anybody on your team that can stop Cody McMahon? Do you have anybody that can stop her? If you do not have anybody that can stop her, you are getting bounced in the first round, and that's who I have it on my bracket. I got Ole Miss, Coach Yo. Shout out Coach Yo, doing what she always does every single year when we talk about SEC teams. We talk about South Carolina, LSU, Texas. Vandy's obviously in the convo now, and we kind of, almost. I don't want to say ignore, but we kind of slight Ole Miss to a certain extent. So yeah, I got Ole Miss beating Gonzaga.
Ole Miss got, what I'm saying? Shout out Coach O. We all aware of Coach O and Ole Miss and what she's built, and the way she flipped that program and made it successful is sensational. You gotta win the big games, man. You got to
True.
win at the end of the day. You know, Flage Mama come up on there, embarrass Flage and the whole team after the South Carolina loss. It's
Mm,
all eyes on Flage. Lane Kiffin put a target on the team back as well.
mm.
Saying, "Oh yeah, Ole Miss they gonna sell out when LSU come to town." And
Of course.
the LSU fans come with Lane Kiffin little posters that they're holding up in their hands, like they got the fans
Silhouettes.
in church.
Yeah.
And you have the lead the first 3 quarters for majority of that time. Cody McMahon's killing. LSU made the switch. Kim Mulkey made the adjustment. I believe it was Full Wally, right? Who switched onto Cody, and she shut her down in the 4th quarter, and then Flage really controlled the tempo, pace of the game. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying all this to say it's
Mhm.
games like that you have to pull out if you're going to be considered one of the elite. Like LSU, yeah, they had a down year where they lost the first 2 games of the SEC play. Buzzer beater at home against Kentucky, the embarrassing Michaela Williams moment where she's doing this to the student section, and then back again on the road, Michaela Blake's and Vandy, they lose, and then they beat UGA on the road, and Flage says, if you switch sides, stay on that side. Like, it's been a long season for LSU. But
Yeah.
regardless, they still won the game against Texas at home. They still won the game at Ole Miss, a comeback victory, and they still were extremely competitive at home against South Carolina. So, like, the big games, they showed up when big games, everything like that. Ole Miss hasn't done that yet with an SEC opponent in SEC play. And that's
Mm,
the reason why you are going to be mentioned as the afterthought. Until
mm.
you know what I'm saying, beat those Vic Schaefer teams and those Don Staley teams and kind of, continue to go toe to toe with Kim Mulkey over at LSU, you will still be mentioned as the stepchild to the rest of those aforementioned squads, in my opinion.
Good point. Good point. I see what you mean. Yeah, that's the thing. The problem that you're right. I mean, it's one of those situations where the issue with Ole Miss in a lot of ways is that I feel like they belong in the conversation, but you're absolutely correct. I mean, like, Ole Miss is not South Carolina. Ole Miss is not LSU. Ole Miss is not Texas. So, and and in a sense, you could probably even say Ole Miss may not even be Vandy. So so it's a situation where I feel like they were that, and I think that's probably the frustrating thing with Ole Miss is they got the talent. I don't know if they necessarily have the talent to beat a South Carolina or LSU, but I feel like, or maybe even a Texas, but I feel like it's a situation where you can make a good case to say that they got the talent where they should be able to go point for point with a team like Vanderbilt. And I feel like that's probably where a team like Ole Miss probably should aim right now. And maybe if they get those wins over Vandy, maybe they can get the wins over Texas and LSU and South Carolina. But it's a situation where I see absolutely what you mean. But that's the SEC for you. It just means more, as they say.
It just means more. It's the toughest conference. It's the toughest league in all of college basketball. So
Yep.
um, definitely have to acknowledge that. I want to say shout out Kennedy Todd Williams. Shout out to Shakira Austin. Like, I felt like those were kind of the faces to really get the turnaround going for Coach O at Ole Miss and stuff like that. Especially Kira. Once
Right.
Kira, transferred from Maryland and stuff like that, it was a whole different thing. As I try to unfreeze my video, there we go.
Mm,
And so definitely shout out to those type of players, dominant and really gets the program turned around. And Cody, obviously, what she's done transferring over from Ohio State. But what Kendrick Lamar say is not enough. So they did win. I mean, you have to acknowledge this. They did win on the road against Stanford. I believe that was Cameron Brinks last year. I
I
want to
think
say.
so.
Yeah, and Haley Jones was also on that team. Shout out to Haley Jones. Shout out Cameron Brink.
Mm,
And I think they might have even been coming off of, what I'm saying, the championship. No, if I'm all the way wrong on the year of like it was right after the championship, it might not have been. But I remember that was the biggest win of Coach O's career so far at Ole Miss. and huge win for them. So they have huge wins. But I'm saying in the SEC play,
Yeah,
specifically this season, you could have kept yourself in that conversation, and they failed to
right.
do so. So, moving on, Minnesota and Green Bay.
Minnesota and Green Bay. It's so amazing. We're talking about Minnesota and Green Bay, and we're talking about women's college basketball instead of football. But that's another story for another time. But yeah, four versus a 13. And I remember when I was going back and forth with my bracket, I was kind of thinking like, okay, this could very well be another. This could very well be another upset pick. I mean, 13s over 4. I mean, we've seen these types of upsets before, but you know what? But I went chalk for that one, so I'm just gonna go. I just went with Minnesota, and went with Minnesota. I think because it's being hosted at Minnesota, so so I can't see the Golden Gophers losing in a first round on their home floor to Green Bay. So I got Minnesota in that one.
I'm with you. Keem. All right, moving down. Number 6, Baylor against number 11, Nebraska or Richmond.
Mm. Nebraska or Richmond versus Baylor. That's definitely an interesting one once again because of the 6-11 factor. But with that one, I went with chalk on that one as well. So I'm with you. I went with Baylor as well.
Shout out Nikki Collin. Okay,
Mhm.
moving
Former
down.
Leonard Dream head coach.
There you have it. Number
Mhm.
3, Duke versus number 14, Charleston.
Now it's interesting. This one is very interesting to me, and it's kind of near and dear to my heart because of the fact that one of the kids that I used to cover, who played at Rock Hill, is now currently playing at College of Charleston. I don't think she's gotten any minutes, but she's involved in March Madness. That's the thing. Shout out Aubrey Stevenson, Rock Hill alum. But it's very interesting because we was talking about Duke a little bit earlier. And there were lots of folks that were kind of thinking, okay, wait a second. What is Duke being, as a 3 seed when, if I remember correctly, as a 3 seed when didn't Duke win the ACC? So Duke wins the ACC. They get into the tournament as a 3 seed behind LSU, who lost in the semifinals of the SEC tournament. And remember when we was talking a little bit earlier, man, about Notre Dame and how they kind of have a chip on their shoulder? I sort of feel like that could very well be the same for Duke. Coach Carol Lawson, I mean, Taina Mayer. I feel like that could be, I feel like they may be going into this tournament with something to prove. So I feel like they'll get that started for sure against Charleston. I got Duke over Charleston.
I've got Duke over Charleston as well, and yeah. Well, keep it pushing. Hold on. Dan, what's Dan?
Hey.
He got the clovers for St. Patty's. I should have wore my green. I pinched myself. There it is. I pinched myself. All right. Let's go. Texas Tech, Villanova.
Texas Tech and Villanova, and that's one of those interesting things. I think one thing that a lot of folks sort of forget is Villanova finished second in the Big East. Of course, they finished second in the Big East behind the big bad Wolves, Huskies, see what I did there, of UConn. So Villanova, I feel like, is one of those teams that actually could very well be better than what's being advertised. I mean, they've been doing, if I remember correctly, when I looked them up, Villanova has actually been doing a lot of winning as of late. Obviously, they haven't been doing a lot of winning against, UConn, who of course ran the table, went 34-0, 34-0. But yeah, I'm very intrigued by what Villanova is able to do. So I'm going 10 over 7, Villanova over Texas Tech.
Well, first of all, I want to say happy St. Patrick's Day to Dan. Second, you know how we just talked about the SEC and it means more. It's the
Yeah.
Big East. It's the Big East, Keem. I'm going Texas. All
I
right,
mean, I
number 2,
understand the Big East is top heavy with UConn.
LSU versus Jacksonville.
It is what it is. Absolutely. So LSU versus Jacksonville. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing with LSU. And we've been kind of talking about it a little bit earlier because we've been mentioning Flau'jae, we've been mentioning Michaela, we've been mentioning Full Wiley. The thing with LSU, and I definitely have LSU over Jacksonville. The thing with LSU is that they need 15 a night. They need 15 a game from all three, from Flau'jae, from Full Wiley, and from Michaela. If they're gonna make a deep run, if they're gonna get to the Final Four, if they're gonna get to the Final Four in Flau'jae's swan song season, they're going to need 15 a game from all of their big three in order to do it. Because that's the thing. We've seen games before with LSU where all teams had to do is, okay, we're going to shut down Flau'jae, or we're going to shut down Full Wiley, or we're going to shut down Michaela. That's the thing. If they're able to get 15 a night from all three, look out. But yeah, I got LSU over Jacksonville.
Hold on, there you go. Yeah, you said the best team. You said the best team. We'll talk about LSU too, going into deeper into the bracket. All right,
Mm.
moving down to Regional 3, Texas versus the winner of Missouri State and SFA.
Mm. That's the thing with that. So yeah, I mean, Texas, like I said, they got a couple of things going for them. I definitely have Texas winning that one. We know how Vic Schaefer can do. He's one of the best coaches in the country. We know what Madison Booker can do. And that's the thing. Texas is one of those teams that is going into the tournament with a couple of things working in their favor. Number one, they won the SEC. And number two, like I said earlier when we was talking about UCLA, they can pretty much play the entire regional portion of this tournament and not have to leave the state of Texas. Those things are working in their favor. So I definitely got Texas in the first round.
Yeah, shout out Maddie Booker, one of my babies, man. One of my babies.
Yeah,
Flau'jae,
yeah.
one of my babies. Maddie Booker, one of my babies. Who else?
Yeah, yeah.
Trying to think. I think that's pretty much it in terms of like that I covered in high school. This two pretty big ones.
I see what you mean.
Oregon and Virginia Tech, Vatek. Yeah.
That's another, like you said, another 8 and a 9, and it's, I believe, the last 8 and 9 that we got. So on my bracket, like I said, I picked 2 8s and I picked 2 9s. I picked Iowa State over Syracuse. I picked Princeton the 9 to get the win over Oklahoma State, and I picked another 9 with Southern Cal over Clemson. I'm going with the 8 over the 9. I got Oregon over Vatek.
Yeah, shout out to Curtis Williams, shout out to Keys, shout out to Jace, shout out to Retro Siege, shouts out to 2-9, Atlanta Legends, Atlanta Underground Legends for sure. Reese LaFleur, what up though? All friends of the channel, man. Shout out 2-9. Yeah. Shout out 2 9s, 2 8, same here. Kentucky, James Madison, the 5 versus the 12. Kentucky's coach Kenny Briggs, he made those creepy comments. He said, "Hey, my girls are pretty and they can play." They said, "What do you mean by that? You're supposed to be their coach. What are you talking about? They're pretty."
I see what you mean. That's kind of, that's definitely, one of those things that certainly obviously raises a lot of red flags for sure. But one thing's a green flag is how Kentucky plays on the court. So it's one of those situations where absolutely for sure. But yeah, I got the 5 over the 12. I got Kentucky going to the second round, beating James Madison.
And Clara Strack, one of the better players in the country this season for sure. Shouts out to her. One of the reasons why the SEC is the SEC, averaged 17 and 10 this year.
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
And
okay.
James Madison has somebody that I covered in high school as well. I believe Delilah Saltis, yeah, exactly, covered her at Malden here in South Carolina. So yeah, but sorry, Delilah. First round exit got Kentucky winning.
Hey there, Delilah. What's your like? Let's go Miami, Ohio versus West Virginia. Miami, Ohio, of course, on the men's side. undefeated all the way into the conference tournament. Still made it as a large bid. How you feel about the women's team?
It's interesting because I'm looking right now at your bracket and I see an upset. I see a 13-4 upset with Miami of Ohio, beating West Virginia. It's very interesting, but yeah, West Virginia, they did win the Big 12, and not only did they win the Big 12, they won the Big 12, and they had to go through TCU in order to do it. So, so that could be one of those things, the fact that they had to pretty much go up against Olivia Miles for the Big 12. That could be a situation where they could go into this tournament possibly with a bit of momentum. So I'm going chalk on that one. I got West Virginia winning.
West Virginia, country home.
Yep.
I picked Miami literally just because I felt like I was picking too many higher seeds.
Uh-huh.
and then I was like, oh, the boys did well. Let me just pick them. So yeah, that's how.
Very much so.
Alabama, Rhode
Exactly.
Island. I got Alabama. Who you got, Keem?
I got Alabama as well, but yeah, I do have to shout out Coach Tammy Reese at Rhode Island, because I do remember they had on the I believe Tammy Reese was on the ESPN bracketology show, and she was there with Dawn Staley, and it was one of those situations where I remember Coach Reese, because I think they played together in college. Coach Reese was like, give me one of them Gucci, give me one of them Gucci suits that Dawn Staley always be wearing. So I love that absolutely. But yeah, I got 6/11. I got Bama rolling tide over Rhode Island.
As you see here, Venezuela, USA turning out to be an instant classic. Top of the ninth,
Mm,
Venezuela is up by 1. And this post tells you everything you need to know. Like, oh my goodness. Definitely. Like, I feel like the World Baseball Classic is the most interesting that baseball is outside of the playoffs. Which I
mm,
mean makes sense in terms of like what's on the line and stuff like that. But it's like, dang, what will make
yeah.
the MLB regular season like this? And I know some people they like the 162 games just because of tradition and the fact that there's a game every day. But I
Hmm.
think maybe the World Baseball Classic being only a couple of weeks and the playoffs only being like a month, a little bit over a month. I think those things add to the excitement of everything. The stakes are
Mm.
higher each game. Therefore, the atmospheres are raised each game. I think that will help baseball, and they should look at okay, maybe we should cut down the season. I don't know. Maybe cut down the season. You cut down the
Yeah.
season, and I think it might make the games more excited. The excitement that you want because the World Baseball Classic has sold people who don't watch baseball unless their favorite team is in the World Series. They're
Yeah.
all glued to the World Baseball Classic for those 2-3 weeks of the World Baseball Classic. So I think you should take a page out of that note, and hey, if we want to be culturally relevant among all demographics once again, and not just the baseball fans,
Mm,
maybe this is how we could do it. You did the whole pitch clock and everything, and all
yeah.
these different rules to keep the game moving faster. But I think
ABS.
it could be as simple as just cutting down the amount of games.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the thing with baseball owners is that they're not going to cut down the number of games because, they on that Wu-Tang tip, cash rules everything around me. But I see absolutely what you mean. I think the thing that really gets me about the World Baseball Classic is it's very interesting. Where are the finals of the World Baseball Classic being held? They're being held in Miami. It is so amazing to me that the Miami Marlins have not been able to capitalize on the fact that there are so many Latino players in Major League Baseball that more than likely would absolutely love to play in Miami. And yet, the Miami Marlins, and by the way, Miami is not a small market. Miami is a very big market. It's one of those situations where, for some reason, the Miami Marlins have not been able to capitalize on that and establish themselves as contenders year in and year out when you look at MLB. That's the thing that gets me about the World Baseball Classic. So, yeah, absolutely. I see what you mean.
It feels like only the Heat are able to like get people to want to play for them. out of
Yeah,
Miami, which is insane. So,
right. Oh, and
let
the
me see.
NHL's Florida Panthers, who won back-to-back Stanley Cups.
Oh, shouts out to the. I definitely was not gonna pull that. Like that. That's a great pull. Shout out to the NHL. Back to basketball. Louisville versus Vermont.
Louisville versus Vermont. Another one of my babies plays for Vermont. Devin Yard, who I covered when she was at Hilton Head Christian and winning state championships at Hilton Head Christian. So definitely shout out Devin Yard. Louisville is one of those teams that lots of folks appear to be very high on going into this tournament. I mean, we know exactly what Jeff Walls is able to do year in and year out with that program. So yeah, I'm going Louisville over Vermont.
Louisville. I,
Louisville.
I don't know if I'll ever be able to say that the correct way. Uh, NC
Jack
State.
Harlow will tell you.
Oh yeah. Jack Harlow. He's got to sing it in R&B neo soul. Louisville, I love you, Louisville. Well, no one. Anyways, NC State and Tennessee. This is a game that people have been hyping up as probably like the most anticipated first round game out of all the first round games.
And you want to know why a big part of the reason as to why it's so anticipated? Because if I remember correctly, NC State and Tennessee actually played each other earlier in the season. And if I remember correctly, NC State beat Tennessee by only 3 points. I believe the final score was 80-77. So Tennessee has a bit of revenge on their mind, and I think they're going to get it. And if you've been, listening to my bracket, it's one of those situations where I'm very upset heavy on my bracket, especially in the first round. So I like Tennessee, and the thing is, Tennessee got somebody else, another one of my babies that I covered in high school as well. Talasia Cooper was at South Carolina for I believe
I
a year.
forgot about Coop. Shout out Coop.
Yes. Talasia Cooper of East Clarendon. So yeah, I got Tennessee. I got the Lady Vols over the Wolfpack. Sorry, Ari Chambers, I had to do it to you.
Hey, shout out Ari Chambers. Man. Hey, wherever Ari Chambers go, that's where I want to be. I got NC State, baby.
I see.
But in all realism, Tennessee just had so much drama this year, bro. Like they had the player that was beating up on her girlfriend allegedly.
Yeah.
Got kicked off the team, arrested and not arrested, and kicked off the team. Then they had, Kaya like quit right before the postseason because she didn't play in senior night and made a whole conversation. Like it's just too much going on over there. There's too much going on over there.
Yeah.
Too much drama,
one thing after another going on in Knoxville.
Just give me NC State. It's just too much noise over there. LSU got a lot of noise too, which we're gonna get into later on. But yeah, we're just gonna go NC State right now. Michigan, this is one of my dogs. Can I bet that dog from OTE and stuff like that? The freshman, she's coming off the bench, Maturin, and she isn't playing that much this year. Her mom actually went viral for talking about how her daughter hasn't played this year and how she has to, just the mindset of keep going, don't give up. Your time's gonna come eventually and stuff like that. But with all the rest of it, I'm still going Michigan.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going Michigan as well. And and one of those that I definitely had to shout out at Michigan is Mila Holloway. Another one of my babies made here in South Carolina, played at Legacy Early College up in Greenville. And the thing is, she's getting minutes. Mila Holloway is getting minutes. Some of these kids, like, when they go, when they play their freshman year, it's like they haven't necessarily been getting minutes. She's getting minutes. And of course, obviously, I got to shout out as well Silas Swords as well up there at Michigan as well. So yeah, I got Michigan winning in the first round.
Oh, shouts out. And I called plug. They're trying to silence us. But I done called a dang player the mom. I done called it the mama name because I still follow the mama, everything like that.
I see what you mean.
It was I believe it was Mackenzie, right? Mackenzie Maturin. Yep. Shout out
Mhm.
Mackenzie. I done called you your mama. Called you Amber. That's your mama
Dang.
name. I'm sorry, Mackenzie.
It happens.
Let's go over here to the second round now.
Mm.
UConn versus Iowa State.
UConn versus Iowa State, and I believe we both had UConn and Iowa State. And once again, it's so hard to go up against UConn. Like I will say this. I will say this. That will be a very anticipated matchup when you think about Sarah Strong versus Audie Crooks. So I imagine that will be, that will be something that will be very highly anticipated. But yeah, give me UConn over Iowa State.
This head-to-head little statistical breakdown, I
Yes.
believe be also a bit misleading because Sarah Strong is like a sensational two-way player plus a point guard and everything, and Audie Crooks
Right.
just almost limited to the paint. Of course she can
Yeah.
face shoot as well. She's just she's a great offensive player, for sure.
Yeah, she's a pure five.
But that defense now,
True.
versus Sarah Strong, Sarah looked like a whole different person compared to how she came in high school in terms of like she kind of had like you don't want to say, but for lack of a better term, she had like baby fat coming in, like young player,
Mm.
still had the chubby cheeks, everything like that.
Uh-huh.
That UConn program, just a couple of them off seasons,
Yep.
she looked like a whole different person now. Conditioning is crazy. And like I say, she goes both ways, bro. She's a great player on both sides of the ball. So
Yep.
um,
UConn does
when you're
that to you.
talking about
UConn will get you ready for the WNBA.
exactly when you're saying who's the better player, you look at these stats, you might be like, Audie Crooks. No, it's easily like not even close
Yeah.
to Strong.
I mean, Sarah Strong is a first overall draft pick. Probably going to be the first overall pick in 2028.
Yeah, and it's the national player of the year this year.
Yeah.
Just because you look at her versus Michaela Blake's, people use the most valuable player argument, but beyond that, it's not the nation's most valuable player. It's the nation's most outstanding player. And the most outstanding player, the best player has been Sarah Strong.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Did you have Murray State? No. You picked Maryland and you picked North Carolina. Maryland versus North Carolina.
Yeah, I picked Maryland and North Carolina to go to the second round. And the thing about Maryland, and and I think this is going to be a theme as we get further and further into these picks. Maryland is just one of those teams that for some reason or another, they have great regular seasons, but for some reason it's like you can't trust them when you get into March. For some reason, you just can't trust Maryland when you get into March. And and that's kind of the thing with them. So I think that's going to be a theme, that will once again be the case for Brenda Fries's team in this go around. So I got North Carolina advancing to the Sweet 16 against UConn.
Shout out Brenda Fries, but it's over. Next, Notre Dame. Yeah. You had these two teams as well, Notre Dame and Ohio State.
Notre Dame and Ohio State. And, and like I said a little bit earlier, I mean, anybody who knows me knows, how big of a Hannah Hidalgo fan that I absolutely am. So, so it's one of those situations where I'm sticking with it. And I got Notre Dame going into the Sweet 16.
Yeah, same over here. Notre Dame losing so much this year is a bit concerning with that pick, but I still went with Hannah Hidalgo over Jelani Cambridge. Respectfully, shout out Jelani Cambridge. This one we had a different pick. You had Colorado and Vandy. I had Illinois and Vandy.
Yeah, you had Illinois, I had Colorado, but I think we're on the same page as far as our Sweet 16 pick. Like I got Vandy as well. Like we said earlier, he was talking about Galvan, and he was talking about Michaela Blake's putting herself in the in the National Player of the Year conversation. So I think I got Vanderbilt going into the Sweet 16. Vandy versus Notre Dame.
All right. And let's move down. Let's keep it pushing. USC versus USC. Who is the real USC in women's basketball?
Well, the real USC, according to my bracket, and I think according to yours as well, the real USC resides in Columbia, South Carolina. So South Carolina, Dawn Staley, they're going Sweet 16. Sorry, Southern Cal, but enjoy those Southern California beaches.
I am with you right there. I'm with you right there. Great season for Jazzy Davidson. I think it ends
Yeah.
in round 2 because South Carolina is just too powerful. Next one, Michigan State, Colorado State versus Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think we both had Colorado State getting the upset over Michigan State, and then them facing Oklahoma. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, we were talking earlier, like you said, about Aaliyah Chavez and everything she's been able to do, and I know that that Colorado State, that's going to be a potential Cinderella pick. It definitely is for both of us, and is possibly going to be for a lot of brackets out there. But I think the clock is going to strike midnight for that Cinderella against Oklahoma. I got Boomer Sooner, Oklahoma going to the Sweet 16 against South Carolina.
The city of Norman. Let's go. All right, next. Washington. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, South Dakota State. South Dakota State versus TCU.
Yeah, TCU. Confused TCU with Texas Southern.
Tennessee as well. Shout out Nolan Smith.
Tennessee as well, Tennessee State as well, and also shout out to Lakira Alexander, another one of my babies going to who played at Camden, going to Tennessee State. But it's interesting, like you said, you had Washington, I had South Dakota State. I have TCU, so I think both of us. have TCU. Like I said, what more can you say about Olivia Miles? So I got TCU advancing Sweet 16.
All right. And next up, we have UGA and Iowa.
UGA and Iowa, and like we were saying a little bit earlier, I mean, like just what Iowa has been able to do is amazing. I mean, like we was mentioning a bit about Stalky, and everybody that they got there. So I'm picking Iowa. In the Sweet 16 to go up against TCU.
All right, let's bring over Sacramento Regional.
Yep.
UCLA versus Princeton.
And I believe we both had UCLA and Princeton. And the thing is, UCLA is just, like I said, they're just too good. I mean, they're just too good. I mean, and the thing is, Princeton, because of the fact that they're coming out of the Ivy League, it's one of those situations. I imagine that there are going to be lots of folks that are going to look at Princeton as another possible Cinderella pick. UCLA, like I said, they're just too good. So they're Princeton's kind of in the wrong bracket, wrong time. So I got UCLA advancing.
Where's Janiah Barker at now? She's still at UCLA?
I think so. I think she is. She's been all over the place.
Man, what understatement. She's
at Tennessee.
She's at Tennessee. Goodness gracious. Joke, you don't.
She's at Tennessee. She's been at Texas A&M.
I'm gonna say my comment, but if you've been on social media lately, if you know, you know. Ole Miss.
She's been all over the place. Wow.
Yeah, all over the place, man. Ole Miss and Minnesota.
Yeah. She's been living in that transfer portal, hadn't she?
And off the court drama too.
True. That too.
But Ole Miss and Minnesota.
Ole Miss and Minnesota. You got the 4 and the 5, and I believe we were on the same page as that one. Once again, we were talking a little bit earlier about Ole Miss, how they stack up against those SEC teams, but I think Cody is just going to be too much for Minnesota. So I got Ole Miss. I got Ole Miss against UCLA.
Yeah, I think about Janiah, how she was committed to Georgia coming out of Mount Verde Academy with Johnny Taylor. Then Johnny Taylor took the job at Texas A&M, so she flipped to Texas A&M with Johnny Taylor. Then she went to UCLA. Now she's with Tennessee. It feels like there's another team in there missing, but at least 4 programs.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Let me see. All right, so you have UCLA here, Tennessee pitchers, Mount Verde, UCLA. Is that it? It was just those 4 teams? Just those 4 teams. Yep, Texas A&M. That's it.
Exactly. And she's a
Yeah.
Marietta kid.
She's Marietta? She from Marietta?
I believe so. Or she got ties to Marietta. I think it says she was
Oh,
born in
Texas. She went
Marietta.
to Mount Verde. That's why I never looked
Yeah,
at it like.
Montverde is in Florida.
Yeah. That's a Cooper Flag and Derek Queen and I'm trying to think of D'Angelo Russell and Ben Simmons. Let me see what high school she came from. I mean, outside of Mount Verde. Because I'm trying to see now.
Tampa Bay.
Okay,
It says Tampa Bay Tech.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. I did this before. Where I was like, she from Marietta? And I like did the whole lookup thing and I couldn't trace her back. So Tampa Bay, yeah. Nah, you ain't no Marietta, you ain't no Georgia girl. You was not one of us. Don't claim it.
I see what you mean.
Okay, cool. Oh, you already picked Ole Miss. Okay, so now Baylor and Duke.
And and I'm still sticking with the theme a little bit earlier. I think that when it comes to Duke, I think similar, like I said, similar to Notre Dame, they're one of those teams that I feel like is going into the tournament that kind of feels a little bit disrespected. And they're gonna be and they're gonna want to take it out on some folks. So so I got Duke advancing.
Excuse me. There you have it. Duke over Baylor, and then LSU and Texas Tech.
Yeah, you had Texas Tech. I had Villanova pulling off the Texas Tech upset, but I think we're both on the same page when it comes to who's going to win that one. I got LSU advancing Sweet 16 against Duke.
Texas Tech, Villanova, it don't matter.
It don't matter. LSU is LSU.
Texas and Oregon.
Texas and Oregon, the one versus the 8. It's I feel like that's one of those sorts of games that kind of maybe has the potential to be a better game than possibly could very well be advertised on paper. But either way, like I said, Texas is going to have a home court advantage for a pretty good portion of this tournament. So I like Texas moving on.
Shout out to Maddie Booker. All right.
Yep.
Kentucky once again versus you have West Virginia.
Yep, absolutely. I had Kentucky and West Virginia, and in that one, I'm gonna go. It's again sort of a 5 versus 4. Those things can be pretty difficult to pick, but I'm gonna go Kentucky in that one. Moving on.
And there you have it. Kenny Brooks moving on to the Sweet 16.
Yep.
Alabama, Louisville.
Alabama and Louisville.
Okay.
And,
I was just making sure you didn't pick Rhode Island, but you didn't. You just talked about how funny their coach was.
yeah, exactly, for sure. And yeah, we're definitely on the same page as far as that Bama Louisville matchup. And and I'm going Louisville. I'm going Louisville advancing Sweet 16.
As my video stuck in me holding up the L. All right. Let's keep it pushing. Michigan versus NC State.
Michigan versus NC State on your bracket. Michigan versus Tennessee on my bracket. And I think in both of our brackets going to the Sweet 16, I think we got Michigan moving on.
Dancing in the moonlight. We'll be dancing in the... Let's move on. Sweet 16, baby.
Yes.
UConn versus North Carolina, the Tar Heels.
Yep, UConn and North Carolina. Definitely going to be a lot of blue. Obviously, Carolina blue versus Navy blue. And if you're a Tar Heel fan, I feel like you're probably going to be feeling blue after this game. I got UConn going to the Elite 8.
All right, Vandy and Notre Dame.
Okay. This one is very interesting. This one is very interesting because I can only imagine there are going to be lots, and I mean lots and lots of brackets that are going to go with Vanderbilt in this one. And I could understand why there are lots of brackets that will go with Vanderbilt. Cause, because I remember when the bracket was, was introduced, especially for that region, lots of folks were thinking, okay, we're gonna get UConn versus Vandy in the Elite Eight. But the thing is, if it's one thing that basketball has taught us at any level, high school, AAU, college, pro, is you can't go against experience. And one thing about Vandy is, yeah, they're a great team. Vandy's great, but it's a situation where Hannah Hidalgo has been here before. She's not new to this. She is true to this. So sorry I gotta do this to you, Vandy, but I'm going Notre Dame. I got Notre Dame advancing Elite Eight over Vandy.
I get the pick. I just do not agree with it because Notre Dame's just lost too many games in this Hannah Hidalgo by herself once again era.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've lost some games by like 20 this year. You know what I'm saying? And I
I
think just
see.
that inconsistency. Shout out to Niele Ivy and crew, but I
Mm-hmm.
just think it's too much to shoulder by yourself against a team like Vandy. So I went with paper. I went Vandy. All
I
right.
hear what you mean.
Bottom of the Sweet 16 on this side. South Carolina, Oklahoma.
And the thing is, like you said, this is, Sweet 16. This is one of those situations where you sort of wonder, you know, is travel going to be a situation? Because the thing is, we've seen in the past where South Carolina has had games where in the tournament where they have struggled. So, that's sort of the thing with them. But, but I think the thing with South Carolina is that like we keep on talking about it. I mean, they're just too deep. They are just too deep. They have too much talent. And and I was mentioning a bit about the travel. I don't think it's going to be that much of a factor. I feel like Oklahoma can give them a game, but at the same time, South Carolina is South Carolina for a reason. So I got South Carolina moving on Elite Eight.
I remember that LSU game in the SEC tournament, and I was like, players I ain't never heard of scoring.
Yeah.
South Carolina is they definitely have a second and third unit.
Right.
Okay.
That'll be a starting five on a lot of other teams.
There it is. TCU and Iowa.
TCU and Iowa. Yeah, that one is a game that I feel like could potentially, when you look at the potential field for the Sweet 16, I feel like in many ways TCU and Iowa could very well be one of those games of the Sweet 16, given both of those teams get there. But yeah, it's a coin flip, but I'm going TCU over Iowa.
There it is. Keem's going with the star power. Hannah Hidalgo and Olivia Miles in the Elite Eight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we move on to the other side. UCLA and Ole Miss.
Mm. And remember what you was talking about a little bit earlier about Ole Miss in big games. I feel like that's going to be the thing. And plus, like I said, playing in that Sacramento regional against, Ole Miss, that's going to have to travel, halfway across the country, basically, in order to get to Sacto. So I got UCLA moving on.
And then a fun one here. The part two of Kara Lawson versus Flau'jae Johnson, LSU and Duke.
Oh yes, absolutely. Another highly anticipated game. Another highly anticipated game, especially given the, like you said, the history of Kara Lawson and Flau'jae Johnson. And this is another one of those coin flips. And I feel like this is another one of those situations where, Duke, I feel like can definitely give them a game, but in the end, I'm gonna go LSU. I think LSU ekes out a close one against Duke.
Yeah, they like darn near hung 40 on their heads. I mean 100 on their heads in Cameron
Yes.
Indoor earlier this season in December. So, and then Flage had that moment where she said, "F wrong with you." And
Yeah.
I reacted to that, and it was doing like pretty well on my channel. It didn't go like nuclear viral or anything like that. But then
Mm,
they took it down. They took it down. I was like,
dang.
oh, the team probably wanted that scrubbed off the internet, but
Did you
the ones
dirty,
who
man?
saw it, they remembered. The North remembers. The South
That they
remembers.
do. Y'all
Texas
remember.
and Kentucky, exactly. Texas
Mm.
versus Kentucky.
Texas versus Kentucky. One of those occasions that, I feel like can definitely be competitive, can possibly maybe even be one of those games that, may be, more competitive than a lot of folks could very well be, giving it credit for. But, Texas, I'm still trusting Texas at this point. Like I said, we've been talking about Maddie Booker. We didn't even I don't think we gave a shout out to Justice Carlton yet, or Kyla Oldacre, also on that Texas roster. So I'm definitely having Texas moving on to the Elite Eight as well.
Yeah, shout out to Old Acre for sure. Been holding it down as an anchor for that team the last couple of years.
Yes.
Louisville versus Michigan.
Louisville versus Michigan, 3-2. And this is, one of those occasions, once again, that pretty much everybody is good at this point. Pretty much everybody is good at this point. Um, but there's just something, I guess there's something to all of this hype that's being around Louisville. And I'm gonna go Louisville. I'm gonna go Louisville over Michigan. I see you got Michigan, but I'm going the Cardinals. I'm going the Cardinals over the Wolverines.
No, this is definitely like the
Yeah.
matchup in the Sweet 16 that I know the least about both teams. Like I know like little to nothing about this year.
Mm,
This year's teams. Now I know a couple of the players and stuff like that on the teams on each team.
yeah.
However, I just don't know about like their best players and all that this year as
I'm
I
in the
know
club with
about
a
other.
basketball team. Me and the Cardinals are sharing a session.
Shout out Jack Harlow, man. Jay
Yeah.
Heasy. Nah, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that. You gonna get me out of here. Elite Eight. UConn versus Vanderbilt.
UConn versus
Oh,
you.
wait. UConn versus Notre Dame for you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You had UConn and Vandy. I had UConn and Notre Dame. I've been, anybody, who's been watching this, I've been singing Hannah Hidalgo's praises pretty much almost this entire stream. But you made a good point. I mean, it's a situation where, like you said, I mean, a lot of those losses, and I feel like it's a situation where ultimately it's got to catch up to Notre Dame. One way or another, it's got to catch up to Notre Dame. And, I think it's one of those things where, the same thing that's going to happen, the same thing is going to happen with a lot of teams where they just run into UConn and UConn is just a buzzsaw. So sorry, Notre Dame, I got to do this to you. Sorry, Nia Ivy. But yeah, I got UConn going to the Final Four.
I said I'm sorry, mama.
I never meant to hurt you.
Them kids don't know nothing about that.
hmm
Let's go South Carolina TCU.
South Carolina and TCU. And I think one of the things that we didn't even bring up with South Carolina yet is they expect to win every single year. And I feel like it's a situation where South Carolina still has a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth from what happened last year in the national championship game against UConn. So South Carolina is out to get their lick back, as we say nowadays. So I got South Carolina beating TCU, and I got South Carolina in the Final Four.
All right. South Carolina moving on for King. Okay. Other side of the Elite Eight as we shore up the Final Four for King. Oh man, once again, hey, the flowers will fade, the grass will wither, but the word of our God stands forever. And UCLA, LSU will remain the same through the entire Flage career. She will have to go through UCLA to get to the national championship. This year, we have it once again: Lauren Betts, Kiki Rice versus Flage and Michaela Williams. Keem, who do you have coming out on top?
Oh, man. The thing is, I want to pick LSU so badly. Like you said, Flage, Michaela, Malaysia. I want to pick LSU so bad, especially because of the Flage factor. The problem is, all of them are guards. And the thing is, the big difference in this one, like you said, is Lauren Betts. Does LSU have anybody that can match up with Lauren Betts? Because, see, here's the thing. Even if LSU were to go on a run, let's say UCLA has like a 10-point lead at the half, and then all of a sudden LSU comes out, they come out with an 8-0 run, Flage's, scoring points, Michaela's scoring points, and they go on a rally. All UCLA has to do, if they don't have anybody that can match up with Lauren Betts, all they got to do is dump it inside to Lauren Betts, and boom, there's your rally stopper right then and there. I want to pick LSU so badly, like I said, because this is Flage's senior year, but I can't go again. I cannot go against Lauren Betts. She's just too good. I got UCLA in the Final Four, man.
So here's my take, man. As Venezuela won the World Baseball Classic, congratulations to Venezuela.
Yes, see.
So USA loses 2 times in a row in the championship. Last time to Japan, this time to Venezuela. America's pastime. How about the world's pastime? Anyways,
yes.
LSU just got too much going on, man. The
Mhm.
players arguing on the court with each other. This is not the time to be crumbling. You crumble in the middle of the season. You crumble in January. When they lost some first 2 games in the SEC to open up SEC play, Kentucky and Vanderbilt back-to-back, that should have been their crumble. It should have been no more crumbling after that. That's come to Jesus moment, team meeting. All right, Coach Mulkey, we're going to get to it. You ain't got to worry about us again. They done went through all that, fighting, pushing the coach out the huddle in front of the cameras.
Yeah.
Social media drama. And now your assistant coach, the lead assistant, done took another job right before the tournament.
Yep.
And people going to be talking about that. And is his mind fully going to be focused on this team, or is he going to be thinking about his recruiting class?
Yeah.
It's just too much going on, man. I have LSU losing at some point, and I think they have the heart and they have the talent to go at least to the Final Four. However, all that other stuff is getting in the way. It's all distractions, and I got UCLA going to the Final Four.
Yeah, that's the thing. All those distractions, and then, like you said, I mean, it's a situation where the thing is, like I said, LSU is very guard heavy, and the thing is, UCLA has guard play that can match up well, that can match point for point with LSU's guard play. But like I said, Lauren Betts, what more can you say? There's a reason as to why at the beginning of the season she was at the top of all these draft boards. That's why I got UCLA moving to the Final Four, man.
And shout out to Kate Caval, but it's not enough. And shout out Maya Joyner, who's been starting at center big for LSU. But you can get her frustrated. It just you tangle up, you hook her on a couple of rebounds on some free throws down low. She gonna get frustrated and take herself out the game.
That's the thing. Exactly.
And you already giving up height on Lauren Betts. You can't afford those type of mistakes in that type of environment.
Right.
I just don't see LSU pulling that. Me personally,
I'm glad you mentioned Koval because she's been doing you want to talk about crash outs? She's been doing a lot of crashing out this season.
and Grace Knox too.
Knox especially.
Yeah. The shout out to the other freshman, Zakiya Johnson, good player. And they got a good freshman class. You know what I'm saying? And Jada Richard, she took a sensational leap. Like South Carolina is going to need that type of leap from somebody in the backcourt, backing up Raven next year to keep them afloat. I mean, kind of what they're used to having at point guard for them. But we'll see how that happens next year. Texas and Michigan. No, Texas and Louisville for you.
Texas and Michigan for you. Texas and Louisville for me. Here's the thing. The thing about it is one thing I try not to do is I try my best not to go with all number one seeds. And I understand, like I said, Texas has the advantage. They get to that regional. It's in Fort Worth. It's, it's that home court advantage. So they're going to get a lot of home cooking. But, you know, but it's just one of those situations when I look at the four number one seeds, when I look at these four number one seeds, I look at UConn, South Carolina, UCLA, and Texas. I'm thinking, which one of these teams can I trust the least in March? And the thing is, I trust Texas the least when you get into these late stage games in March. So, so like I said, I mean, we saw what Louisville was able to do in the ACC tournament. I mean, they only lost to Duke by about 5 points. They got talent. When you look at McKinley Randolph, you look at Amari Berry, Laura Ziegler. I mean, we know what a Jeff Walls team can do. So, sorry, Texas. Sorry, Vic Schaefer. Sorry, Maddie Booker. Sorry, Kyla Oldacre. I got Louisville, the 3 seed, coming out of that region.
And that's the end of Rory Harmon's career too for you. So,
yes, exactly.
Rory Harmon, sensational career, a friend of the channel as well. Yeah, that was nothing to be ashamed of. UConn, right. South Carolina in the Final Four.
Oh, UConn, South Carolina in the Final Four, and we both had that one. And, and like I said before, South Carolina is going to want sweet revenge because of what happened last year in the national championship. And the committee knew absolutely, by the way, what they were doing by putting UConn and South Carolina on the same side of the bracket. They knew what they were doing. But, I mean, it's tempting. It's very tempting to pick South Carolina because of their history. It's very tempting to pick UConn because of the fact that they're undefeated. The thing is, UConn is just too good. And I understand who they have on South Carolina. They got Joyce, they got Tessa, they got Raven. They have talent up and down that lineup, bench, everything. But Sarah Strong is just too good. I mean, that UConn team is just too good. They're too stacked. Sarah, AZ, everybody. I got UConn going to the national championship.
Yeah, I had on my thing, I was like, yeah, my bracket challenge is literally just becoming like the try to prevent me guessing a UConn South Carolina final every single year challenge. And I guess the committee did it for me this year by putting them on the same side. So
very much so.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess I'm happy for that, but yeah, I got UConn, man. UConn has their number. Like, how South Carolina has LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. UConn has South Carolina's number. So
right.
they got UConn going to the game. UCLA, Louisville.
UCLA, Louisville for me. UCLA, Texas for you. And like I said, I didn't want to go with all number one seeds. I didn't want to go completely chalk. But, that's exactly, why that's exactly why they have these games. So, so I think it's one of those situations where I think both of us have UCLA advancing. So I think both of us have the same national championship, UConn versus UCLA.
Yeah, man. Kiki Rice and Lauren Betts, their lives go. I felt like they've always been there. They were never able to get over the hump to at least make it to the big game. So I'm giving them that this year. Last year on the way out, I think that they push enough to get over that hump. So with that being said, like you said, we have the same national championship game. 2 of the top seeds, UConn and UCLA. Who do you have, King?
Who do I have? Well, one thing that I do have is and I think both of us definitely have that, is we want to see that matchup, Sarah Strong and Lauren Betts. Like we was talking earlier about Sarah Strong and Audie Crooks. Sarah Strong, Lauren Betts, that will definitely be a matchup a lot of folks are going to want to see. Same thing with Kiki Rice and AZ Fudd. And, and like I said, especially after what they were able to accomplish last year and how they just wiped the floor with South Carolina, I got UConn repeating. I got UConn repeating, going back to back once again as national champions. I got UConn repeating, and I'm actually, not only do I have UConn repeating, I'm gonna go with a final score. I say the final score is gonna be something like, I say 79 to 67. UConn gets it done.
Yeah, I forgot what I said. I think it was probably around there though. I had you see the total 150, but I forgot what I said for the points, but it's probably something around there. Yeah,
Mm,
man. UConn gets it done back to back. I think
yeah.
this year they were just better than everybody else, and sometimes it's as simple as that.
Yeah, remember when South Carolina went 38-0? Like, it was South Carolina's world, everybody else was just living in it. Now it kind of feels like those days when they had Maya Moore, when they had, Diana Taurasi, when they had Stewie. It just feels once again like UConn's world, and everybody else, including South Carolina, including UCLA, including Texas, is just living in it.
And you could talk about how, oh, they had like two number ones, with AZ and Sarah Strong, but Blanca Quinones, she looks like she's gonna step up into that, what I'm saying, role as one of the top players next year as well. And you still got Sarah Strong for another 2 years. That's unfair. Sarah Strong, just having her only be a sophomore, but
Right.
hey, it is what it is, man. It is
And
what
she
it is.
already looks like she can be in the league.
She already looks like she can be in the league.
Mm.
Well, King, we appreciate it so much. Nearly 2 hours of discussing, and I appreciate that the annual trip up to the channel and stuff like that. Hold on, I don't even see Flage being drafted unless in the top 5, unless they go on a crazy run and she's leading them. Huh?
Mm.
That's a great point. I think you have to look at it like, okay, so you said it, so I'll stay up here for you. Everybody thank Nate for the overtime that he is giving you all. Um, we'll pull up. I'm gonna pull up. I want to pull up another mock, but I'll just pull up we had up earlier. Hold on. As soon as it loads up, as you see, it got a bunch of tabs pulled up. ESPN takes up a lot of
Yeah,
space and stuff. All right.
right.
So you had homegirl from Spain, center from Spain. 2, she had Olivia Miles. 3, she had AZ Fudd. 4, she had Lauren Betts. 5, she had Kiki Rice. I think Flage is better than Kiki Rice. I think Flage is better than Tanaya Latson. And yeah, so me personally, I think she's better than those two. And I think she puts up a good argument with AT Fudd. Obviously, the stats are the stats, and the seasons were the seasons. I think AZ had a better season than Flage. In terms of just players overall, I think Flage makes up for a lot on defense. But that's just my personal opinion. So,
Well, it's very interesting because if I remember
yeah,
correctly, there was a couple of years ago where Erin McDonald, when she was at Arizona, I mean, she had a really great tournament that one year. And if I remember correctly, wasn't she a lottery pick?
yeah. She went four to the Dream. I was about to say the
I think she
Hawks.
went third.
Oh, she went third.
Yeah, I think she went third.
Sheesh. Oh,
The
what?
Atlanta Dream
Kennedy
in the
Carter was Kennedy
2021
Carter fourth.
draft.
Was Kennedy Carter fourth?
Um, I think so. I got to make sure.
It was Sabrina Ionescu was number 1 that year. I can't remember who was number 2, but I think Kennedy Carter was forward to the Dream. I want to say.
I think so. Yeah, she was fourth in that 2020 draft. That was the COVID draft that was held virtually.
And then Erin McDonald was 2021. She was 3. So I
Yeah,
got them mixed up.
it
All right.
happens.
Let me go back to another mock draft. Let me go to another mock draft. Okay, because you see Nate, he said he thinks Raven could be top 5.
That's interesting. I could see it as well, because one thing about the tournament is that it can, one thing about March Madness is it definitely can raise one's draft stock. So maybe it's a situation where somebody who's probably just outside of the lottery probably could very well work their way into the lottery if they go on a deep run. You just never know.
Yeah, so they got Iowa fam going number one everywhere. Olivia Miles looks like she's a lock for two. AZ Flood
Hmm.
looks like she's a lock for three. Lauren Betts lock for four. Kiki Rice five. That's what everybody has. Everybody has that same five. And Flage going
Mm.
to the tempo.
Yeah, that's interesting that mock has Lauren Betts going to Washington because they got Shakira Austin, they got Kiki Iriafen, so they're set. One would think that
They
they're set in the
literally just
front
got
court.
rid of Aaliyah Edwards because they had too many bigs.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So it's like you're just continuing to crowd up that front court. Now I do
Right.
think Raven Johnson sliding down to 10 is a bit absurd for sure. Like
Mm.
I think Raven Johnson's better than her. Haquez, shout out Haquez. Let me throw some respect on the name. I'd see now. I ain't did my overseas scouting this year. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I see what you mean.
Tanaya Latson, I think Raven Johnson's better than Tanaya Latson.
Mm.
I think Flage is better than Raven, but that's just me.
You think maybe Tanaya's um, Florida State stats were kind of inflated because she really didn't have anybody around her at FSU.
I think it's I think you also have to look at fit with these things. You also have to
True.
look with fit. Sometimes like I think a great example is Haley Van Lith, right? Haley
Mm.
Van Lith, great career before and after LSU. You know, she brings her draft stock back up once she leaves LSU. And she hung around her rookie season. She didn't,
Yeah.
she didn't get cut. So she's hanging around. In WNBA standards, can you stay on the team for a whole year? And she
Right.
didn't. So I think that might be the same case with Tanaya Latson of like, what I'm saying? You're superwoman at your old school, then you go into a new system. And I just don't think the fit was quite there at South Carolina. In terms of what's in her favor for the mock draft. But yeah, I think Flage is better than Kiki Rice. I think Raven Johnson is could put up an argument for being better than Kiki Rice. So yeah, I think Raven should definitely be around five more so than around 10. I think around 10 is a bit disrespectful, in my opinion, for the type of season she's had and the type of last couple of years she's had at South Carolina.
Exactly. And for the fact that she brings that championship pedigree. Because of the fact that she brings that championship pedigree, Raven Johnson's the type of player that can really flip a locker room in many ways.
What about this?
Cody to the
Backing up
dream at
Nas Hillman?
13?
Backing up Nas Hillman?
Hmm.
Well, I mean,
That's interesting.
unless Atlanta goes two bigs again, if they bring back Bree and BG, which we have no idea about because there's no free agency because there's no CBA.
Yeah.
But say they hypothetical world they bring back both bigs, then you have Nas Hillman coming off the bench as a sixth woman, and then you have Cody being pretty much Leticia me here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that. Now
Mm.
I think about it. If you bring back both bigs, I think you probably should go guard.
Probably because they're like you said, they're pretty much set. I mean, between if they bring back both Bree Jones and BG, they're pretty much set in the front court. Kind of like what we was talking about with Washington, how they're set in their front court because they got Kiki and they have Shakira.
If I'm Atlanta, I'm praying one of them hometown kids fall to me. Whether
Mm.
that's Raven or Flage. Now Tanaya
Mm.
Latson, salute to Tanaya Latson as well. She went to Westlake. But
That too.
I'll say those two for sure. I'm praying one of them two fall.
Mm. And the thing is, there's a possibility. I mean, there's a possibility that either one of them could. I mean, like you said, I mean, folks have been talking a lot about, Flaude and, could she possibly fall out of the lottery? The same could happen with Raven Johnson, but it's amazing. I still can't get over the fact that you have these mock drafts that have Raven Johnson going to the Indiana Fever. I mean, that, like I said, that would definitely be something if she were to go to Indy.
No, 100%. Let's look at one more mock draft before we kind of end things here. Tonight, I woke up with a strange tattoo. Not sure how I got it. Not $1 in my pocket, and it kind of looks just like you, mixed with Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
we go. Okay, they got the Farm Center going number 1, AZ Fudd going 2. So we got a different mock draft. Olivia Miles going 3, Lauren Betts going 4. Flage is in the top 5 of this one. Then tonight, Latson. Also, they got Kiki Rice going all the way down to 9. Cody McMahon going down to 10. I don't see Raven Johnson. Do they have Raven Johnson going to the I keep wanting to say Hawks, to the Dream. No, they got Sarah Williams. I'll take Sarah Williams. But that's a big. We just talked about that. We're going to be dang Leticia and me here. They need a guard. All due
really
respect
do
to
in many ways.
Canada, they need a guard.
They got Janiyah going to Connecticut, which is basically basketball purgatory nowadays.
Who?
Janiyah Barker.
Oh, Janiyah. I was about to say because they had Taniyah going to. Oh yeah. Janiyah.
Yeah, they got her going to Connecticut.
Them jokers over there, they just waiting to go to where they trying to move them to? Boston.
Houston.
They just waiting for them to go to Boston.
They wanted to move him to Boston, but it seems like the WNBA wants to move him to Houston.
Because they want they say, all right, we're gonna get more money from Boston as an expansion as opposed to y'all just moving. And they said, well, we'll give you the money to move to Boston that you would have got from expansion. She said no. I said, all right, bro. So here you go, lockout on you.
Exactly. Very much so.
Mr. Tough Guy, lockout. How about that?
Yeah,
no, I agree with you, Nate, on Raven. We were talking about that earlier. These mocks don't make sense, but at the same time, no one knows what the rosters will look like. Exactly. No free agency. Everything is a guess.
Right.
We don't even know when the draft is going to happen.
Right.
We haven't even had expansion drafts.
Exactly. For 2 teams this time, not just one, like was the case with last year for Golden State.
The Toronto tempo. How you know what the Toronto tempo and the dang
Portland Fire?
We don't even know what team that. We don't even know who they have on their team.
Right. Exactly.
We don't
it's
even know.
Amazing.
We don't even know if I'm trying to think of who will be up. We don't even know where Tahina Papao is gonna. Yeah, I'm joking. I have no idea who they're gonna give up in these expansion drafts. That's always one of my favorite parts of like, ooh, they put them on the block. Okay.
And who the protected players are gonna be.
Yeah, exactly.
How about was in Athletes Unlimited, if I remember correctly?
Yeah. I mean, Nas Hillman.
Yeah.
Definitely got to be protected. Definitely. Because, 2 expansion drafts, you could see, saying, oh, Nas Hillman. Nah, don't make her the face of your franchise. She's staying in the A.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. But if I'm Atlanta, I'm praying. Wait. Raven isn't even in this first round.
That's interesting.
Yeah. If I'm in Atlanta, I'm praying she's available here. I'm taking her. I'm taking the hometown kids.
Right.
All right, Keem. We did an extra about 15, 20 minutes for Nate. Shout out Nate, man. Appreciate the love in the chat. And anything else you want to say before we get to it tomorrow? First 4 starts tomorrow, man. So what do you want to say before the draft? I mean, the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I can't wait. I can't wait. All these games are definitely, hopefully we're definitely going to get some good ones. And hopefully not only that, but hopefully, even on the WNBA side, hopefully hopefully they iron out this CBA stuff soon. So we'll see what happens with that, and we'll see what happens with March Madness. Let's get it going.
It's going to be a fun free agency whenever a deal is reached in the CBA. It's going to be a fun draft, fun expansion draft, and it's going to be a fun, college draft as well, man. Appreciate you, Nate, as always. And appreciate you, Akeem. We had you last time on the channel when Vegas won a title. So appreciate you for always being dependable and stuff like that to show up. And here's to 6 years, man. 6 years of this thing. And the
1, 2,
tournament.
3, 4, 5, 6.
And there you
Like
have
Toronto up in here.
A-League will be back at some point. And yeah, maybe Keem can host when we get back, so I do not have to talk for a whole 60 minutes. Either Keem or Eric, y'all take the reins, man.
Folks trying to listen to your soothing sounds, man.
Jeez Louise, you see the ticker, 377 days of these streams.
Woo!
Yeah,
woo, you're getting after it, man.
Yeah, man. So hey, look, I'll take me a day off and have somebody else host the pod for once in a while, man. But,
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
A-League comes back. Keem, appreciate you as all. Let the people know where they can find you on Twitter, man.
Absolutely. I'm all over the place. So I'm at Akiem Bailum on X Twitter. I'm at Akiem Bailum _ on the IG. I'm actually at Akiem Bailum .bsky. I'm on Blue Sky as well. I'm all over the place, and check me out Beyond the W, Prep Girls Hoops, Prep Softball. Yours truly is all over the place. Also, shout out to 4 Quarter Friday as well. They had me a couple of times as well on their pods. So definitely check them out as well. I'm getting after it.
Oh no, for sure. Shouts out to them. What'd you say? 4 course?
4 Quarter Friday.
Shout out 4 Quarter Fridays, man, for sure. Nate Wallen, he said next pod I'm asking about Asia to the Valkyries. It ain't happening, twin.
Man,
Bam is not going to the Warriors. Asia's not going to the Valkyries. Like I think if anywhere Asia would go, and this ain't even like me being biased, this is just me just saying it. I think she goes to Atlanta. Atlanta's the only team in the South. It's the closest to Miami, and it's the closest to South Carolina.
South Carolina, yeah.
So I think if she were ever go anywhere, it would be to Atlanta. It would be to the South. It wouldn't be more out west, because I don't think Bam is going to Golden State. I mean, maybe Warriors throw it back at Golden State, but it doesn't really matter because, I mean, the WNBA offseason and the NBA offseason are two different things.
Maybe in the future, maybe we see Bam on one of those expansion teams, Vegas or Seattle.
Maybe goes to Vegas. Who knows?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. Bam goes to Vegas. They will love him in Vegas.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah.
If I'm Bam, if I'm Bam and what's his name, Pat Riley, you know what I'm saying? I already scored 83 for y'all. I took y'all to the finals a couple times. We lost. You know, made a couple of all-star appearances, won my Olympic gold medal as a member of the Heat. Shoot, I think he gave the franchise all he could give. I ain't gonna be no D-Wade, be here 20 years. I leave and then come back. If anything, I'm gonna leave and come back. I'll leave, go to Vegas a couple years, then come back, retire a Heat. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that'll be
might as well.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens in due time in the NBA and the WNBA. But appreciate you guys as always, man. Keem, appreciate it, bro.
Absolutely, as always. You know where to find me for sure.
Yes, sir. And my name is Rashad Milligan. This is Akiem. The Warriors trying to get Bam too. Yeah. Oh, I got you. Next pod, Nate. As always, my name is Rashad Milligan. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and follow along, because I'm live or post original content on this page each and every single day, as I've done for the past 377 days. Until next time, make sure you have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening, have a good night, have a good day. If nobody else told you today, I care for you. Till next time, Rashad, this is Akiem. We will see you.
Till next time.
King.
Yeah.
Don't leave me hanging. Of course
not.
Don't leave me hanging. We will see you.
Rashad, why you didn't hit me up?
What's up, Rashad? Hey, Rashad.
What's up, Rashad?
Thank you, Rashad.
Brother, I love you, brother.
What's up, Rashad? What it do, boy?
Hey, Rashad.